Other than that, let's open it up to some questions for all of us. So let's start with Danny. I've got a couple questions for Danny. Yes.
Two questions. Number one is, do you think any chance for those of us that we spend more time in the bottom's chair?
The oldest one is the most there. You know how much money I save a week or a month on haircuts?
Second question is, do you think, feel that the PGA is doing all it can to provide adequate playing opportunities for gentlemen like yourself and women like yourself during the winter months? And if not, what would you suggest our section bring to the association to improve that program?
It's funny, you're talking about the winter, obviously probably the most time we have to play is in the winter. When I was an assistant and we were going down to Florida, running a Google and a couple of others, we were talking about this before. I felt like the PGA gave us better and more opportunities to play in the winter with those winter series programs. They were packed. If you didn't, when the entries came out, if you didn't get it in within like 3 or 4 days, you were shut out. They were all full. Now I'm hearing they're only having 40 or 50 players. Why is that there's not as many players around? There's not many
sponsorships and the money that they play for now. Back then, first place, I don't know, it was 5,000, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, whereas the last 2 or 3 years, it's 1,800. You're paying $350. Get the hotel room and buy a flight down to Florida, and really not anymore. Because it goes all the way to your expenses. So I think that if the PGA could get a sponsor that had a bigger tournament prize, I think that they would fill the fields a little bit more. Now, that's what I think about it. I don't know what their thoughts are of it.
I mean, they're giving you opportunities to play, which is great. The money might not be the greatest on the planet, but you know what are you doing in the winter? If you're not teaching at a place full time or traveling or working back at your club, or if you have an indoor outdoor teaching facility, I don't know. But at least they're giving you, a couple times to play during December, January, February. And then also, I know they started out a couple new tours this year, the band tour. I think it was, Mark Brown and Mark Milkey and Anthony Arruda set up, kind of a club pro thing to do as well. So,
just for our section.
Was it just for our section?
Just for the guys in our section.
Shows how much I get down the winter to play.
Milky was trying to find more tournaments to play in?
Is that possible?
Thank you, gentlemen. I enjoyed very much what you had to say. I have a question basically for the panel. This past weekend, everybody was probably watching the Masters as I was. You referred a lot to the mental aspect of the game. I'd love to hear your take on what happened on the 10th hole in the playoff with those tee shots, etc. Thank you.
I think they were proving themselves. Get it off the plan. And Bubba Watson made a great pull to actually win the tournament. I think they were actually just shaking in the britches when he got to that team.
I think that's just golf. I mean, if you look at those tee shots, obviously they weren't the best, but then you see Bubba hit that shot where it was a defined shot that required a specific line, a specific curvature, and a tremendous amount of focus. And I think you see that a lot when guys have to hit shots out of trouble. You see the focus narrow, and you see better quality shots, whereas the tee shot may have been a more wide open thing. I think looking at Bubba's face on the 18th tee when he teed off, you could see the focus and the determination in his face. He was dialed in. I think what Rob said is perfect. I mean, these guys are as nervous as we are on the tee, or as their member is on the tee, and that's the whole battle. And Bubba's been pretty public about his thoughts wandering when he's playing. So, Danny started with it, and we all followed it up, and that's just a huge aspect of the game to be able to focus and commit to your shots. And I think that's where the good players separate themselves.
And also, I don't know if you've played there before, but the 10th tee requires like a snap off the tee. So the drives they could have hit were perfectly straight, which they probably were. But
thinking that they're tied going to 17, playing flawlessly, hitting perfect shots all the way around. And then Bubba, slices it on 17T. So now there's a little opening for Uthayden. And so there's finally a little bit of opening, but it's the only bad shot he hit. He blocks it into the right woods there. Now they both recovered at 4, but it shows you how mental, as soon as one hit a bad shot, he had a little opening, he didn't handle the pressure, then they hit great shots all the way around again until 10. Bubba snap hooks it, and Uthayden's got a little opening, again, didn't handle that pressure. So it shows you how mental, whereas they were hitting it flawlessly up until that time. So anytime there's a little mental lapse, it's a mental lapse more than a physical problem because they're playing beautifully.
I have a question over here, Daryl.
Yes.
You're right. If the players could share some of their drills that they use, long and short game drills, to help prepare to play better.
Dan?
I work a lot on my putting, and I use a chalk line and a T-gate that fits right around my putter, just so that I can make sure that the putter is releasing down the line. And the chalk line helps me train my eyes to get the ball started on the line. I'm a very big believer in training your eyes to see something when you're putting. So I think the chalk line is helping me become a better putter, as well as helping me make more of my 3, 4, and 5 foot putts. And I always practice just straight putts because everything, in my opinion, every putt is a straight putt. So with the chalk line and my T-gate from 3, 4, and 5 feet is where I spend most of my time practicing.
All right, you guys work
Preparing for a tournament, I think I do some distance drills for long putting, and specifically trying to get the ball past the hole and within a certain range from 20, 30, 40 feet. And I think that really gets me prepared for putting well in long putts, and then I try and practice short putting as well, so that I don't ever 3-putt. I think if you can make the short putts and then never 3-putt, you're going to putt pretty well in a tournament. As far as other, knowing my swing over the years, I've worked on my swing with different teachers and studied a little bit, and it always comes back to certain things and tendencies in my swing. So, I just kind of work on those tendencies and try and know what my swing is going into an event. As far as drills, for a full swing, it's not as much drills for me as knowing and feeling my swing going into an event. But certainly putting drills, short putting, and distance drills.
Yeah, I guess I don't do many drills during the tournament. I'm trying to mostly just play. Trying to gear myself up to just hitting shots and seeing shots and carving around shots and doing whatever I'm doing on the golf course. But as far as putting, I do the added cross drill from 3, 4, and 5 feet. And I try to get on each side of the hole, uphill putt, downhill putt, left to right putt, right to left putt. And I try to make every one of those in a row, starting from square one until I can leave. And if I don't do them all in a row, then I got to stay there. I think one time it took me about 4.5 hours to finish, but which was kind of frustrating, but I got it done, thank God. Woohoo! So that's it. Iron cross drill.
Great.
I'm not much of a technical person. I like to do things by feel. So as far as long game goes, I just try to not sit on a range and hit shot after shot. I try to shape shots, high shots, low shots, draws, fades, whatever it may be. That gets the feel for my swing going. Short game, putting for me, again, I'm not very technical. I see angles, I see lines. So what I try to do is I actually try to putt with my eyes closed quite a bit. Something that Evan and I worked on years ago, and something that stuck. So I'll putt with my eyes closed. Doesn't matter the distance, but what I'll do is I'll hit putts and I'll just try and feel in the stroke in my hands and try and get a sense in my mind's eye of where that putt went. Did it go a foot past the cup? Did it go a foot short? Did it go left? Did it go right? To try and get my
awareness for what my stroke is in line with reality. Obviously we see our members, they think they did one thing and they obviously did the other. So I try to get my awarenesses in line with my reality, or in line with reality on everything: full swing, short game, putting.
Rick actually got tennis elbow this winter. Y'all don't realize he felt like he got the yips chipping, so he had to practice his chipping, and it was had a shag bag, and he would pick them up, flip the balls with the club into the bag right there. And he did it so often he created a tennis elbow.
So that's what practice is going to get.
Yeah, so that's what he's practicing. It's
Brilliant. That was a brilliant idea. Yeah. So
you fix the chipping.
but I think, listen, the main thing is the feel when it comes to, it's hard to say there's just one specific drill, but the feel of hitting a lot of little shots and getting what feel like it works for you, and make sure that, like in the putting green, a lot just more so the speed, and you get the speed down, which is obviously the most important part. And don't practice so much. It's not good for your elbows.
John, just to answer my drill, one of my favorites, but one of the only ones I kind of use a lot is that I'll use the tee game, but I'll put the tee about 3 or 4 feet in front of me, the size of a golf ball, and I'll have a ball marker, and it's a 10-foot straight putt. So the tee gate's about 4 feet in front of me, so I'll hit that and just get it through the tee gate. It helps me with seeing the line, because I feel like if you don't see the line, you have a chance to make a putt. So all of a sudden, when I get my setup, I'll see that line all the time, and then wherever I go on the green, I'm seeing that, I'm rolling it through that gate. So that's a drill that I use a lot.
What does our panel think of the fact that Bubba Watson apparently has never seen himself on video?
Do you know what's amazing? I thought it was quite refreshing. I think some of the commentators commented on it, but it's like, everything with all these teachers, with Sean Foley and a lot of teaching. And listen, that's what we do for a living. A lot is teach. But I think people have lost a lot of the art of the feel of actually playing golf. And the one thing that Bubba does, and supposedly I played at Estancia. Darryl and I go to Arizona every year and do a corporate thing, and I went to Estancia. And that's where he plays at. And I asked my member that's a member there, I said, do you see him practice all? He says, never hits balls. Short game only, never hits golf balls. So the part of the field comes back into the game so much. Listen, take Tiger, who's going through all these problems now and working on his game with Sean Foley, whether it's right, wrong, or different, really doesn't matter. But I heard it was Saturday night, he was on the range until 9 o'clock at night. Bubba Watson is totally the opposite way. He's playing with feel. He's using his hands a ton during the swing. You can't hit that shot on number 10 without using your hands. That ball spun uphill when it hit the green. So how much did he actually close that club face down to get that thing hooked 40 yards with a wedge? Even Druga was saying before, he can hook it, but he can't hook a wedge 40 yards. So it just shows you the art of the field comes back. So I think the whole thing with the swing and all the video and stuff it gets a little bit over. You have to remember, it's a game of golf. It's played with feel. And so I thought it was quite refreshing that a guy like Bubba wins. I think it's great for the game.
Okay, guys, we've had a chance to play with everyone except Danny, and one of the things that impresses me when I play with you guys is you always seem to be ready to hit. That you're never flustered, your routine pretty constant. Just wondering how much do you guys work on your routine? How important do you think it is? And really more specifically, do you guys work on a routine before you hit a shot or hit a putt?
Yeah, absolutely. Pre-shot routine is paramount to hitting good golf shots. You're a great player, and I'm sure you work on your routine as well. I'm always visualizing the shot. When someone else is hitting, I'll be seeing the shape of the shot
And the trajectory of the shot. And then when it's time to go, it's time to go. And I think when, I think everybody here has played in a major championship, and we've all been nervous as heck on the tee. And it was the pre-shot routine, I think, that brings us back down and gets us back into into the present and able to pull the trigger. So it's definitely something to work on, to have consistent, because you're going to get in moments where you're shaking like a leaf, and you've got to be able to pull the trigger and obviously have the same momentum and the same rhythm each time.
I will say, I think it is great to have a routine to rely on that. And a lot of times we have a routine and we don't even realize you're going through your routine every time. But then it's good when you get in a very high pressure situation to rely on that. And I think that's why it's good to practice it, because if you don't practice it and then you try and go through your routine, it seems almost unfamiliar to you. So if you are familiar with going through the specifics of your routine, it takes away your thoughts of whatever else is going on or making you nervous.
Okay, next question.
Kind of following off of what Greg said, you guys play major championships. What is your mental preparation like for guys that are, like me, I'm just getting into the assistants tour, preparing to play with guys that are better players? So what's your mental preparation going into like the US Open or the PGA Championship? Is it any different?
For me, it was,
2006 was my first, and I knew that first tee shot was going to be a disaster if I wasn't ready for it. And I spent probably 2 months just thinking about that shot. And when I was out playing with members, or I was out playing at night, or I was playing in an assistance event or a state open, I would actually visualize, crowds of people around. I would try and almost build up the pressure so that I could work through it. And when I got to the tee that day, I wasn't nervous at all until the guy said, all right, 10 seconds to tee. And when the 10-second call came, I don't think I've ever shook so violently as I did. So I put the tee in the ground, shaking like a leaf, and I actually totally forgot what I'm supposed to do. I'm looking at the ball on the tee, the club's in my hand, I didn't have a clue what to do. And all of a sudden, all that preparation came back, the pre-shot routine came back, and knocked it down the fairway. But I spent a lot of time trying to visualize the pressure that may be coming up.
Rick and I were playing the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach in 2000. Rick, tell them what Nick Price told you.
We played a couple of practice rounds that week. Darryl and I, we were out there for the whole week together. We played. And it's amazing how it works too, because during a major it builds up during the week. So the Monday it's not too, it's pretty relaxing. There's not many people around. The Tuesday it gets a little bit more hectic. There's a lot more going on. You get a little more nervous. And just like Greg said, it all is a build-up of this nervous of something that, as club pros, you're not really used to. Because this kind of pressure when we play the State Open, there's, everyone wants to play well and you get a little nervous, but nothing compared to a major and how nervous it is. So we were playing Wednesday morning, Darryl and I, Nick Price, and Carlos Franco, I think, wasn't it? And I hit it terrible off the first tee. And Nick, we're walking down the first tee, and Nick pulled me aside and he goes, listen, tomorrow, this one thing I want you to do is don't think. That you cannot think whatsoever. You go through your routine, and that's the only thing, no thinking. And actually hit it, and trust me, you're as nervous as you can be. And the routine's kind of the thing you fall back on to give you some support and to go. Otherwise, you could be there forever. And standing there forever is not a good thing. It's never going to end up well. And so during the week, it actually worked out great. I didn't kill anyone off the first tee. That was a really good success off the first tee of Pebble. And Pebble, they say, is not that big of a deal. It's an iron off the tee, but it's actually even worse because it's an iron off the tee. Exactly. See, now when people don't think, like members and stuff at the club would never think of that. Where we're standing in the Open, and a driver is much easier because the iron is much smaller. God, please don't miss this. They'll look really bad on TV. And so that's when you fall back in the routine. So, and another thing about it is how, I'm interested to hear Greg felt the pressure. 2 months ahead of time, he's thinking about that one shot. Yeah, but that's how you have to prepare for things, and that's how much pressure. And sometimes you don't realize how much pressure these guys are under, and how much focus it takes to pull the stuff off. But and I'm sure everyone's been through the same thing.
I'll just add just a little bit to that. I guess, you say preparing for a major. I'm preparing every day. I mean, it's not like you get into a major and then it's like, okay, I got to go play in a major. Let me get ready 4 weeks prior. I'm preparing all winter. I'm preparing all year. I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that my game stays at the highest level all year round. So if I happen to get into a tournament or happen to qualify for an event, even who knows when it is, besides the US Open and the PGA. But yeah, once you get into that first event, at Whistling, I wasn't nervous until we had our 3-hour rain delay, and then we were getting ready to tee off, and I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. You're so nervous. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how nervous you get. So, but anyway, once you've hit all those shots, you've prepared yourself those years prior, so you say, okay, well, this is what I've done my whole life. I'm just gonna rip it down the middle, everybody's gonna watch you, and you're off and running. But yeah, you're nervous. But you just, that's the great thing about golf, is you can control your nerves, and even if you can't control your nerves, if you can hit good shots while you're nervous, that's controlling your nerves, so.
Well, thank you, Darrell, and thank you to the panel.
Yeah, let's thank the panel. Congratulations.